Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with Nina and me, Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join our conversation as we explore our interesting theme for today. So welcome back to this month's podcast series of topic being fear. Today, I, Nicole Angelica Panzer, will be interviewing my awesome partner in wellness, Nina Saacks, who will be giving us some amazing tips and tricks, how to deal with fear, how to recognize it. And yes, before we start blabbing, let me pass you over to Nina. Nina.
Morning, Nicole. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. So yeah, let's get straight into fear. Hopefully, you guys listened to our little intro podcast last week, where we literally addressed kind of like what fear is, and kind of like the quote I wanted to start with is one from Franklin Roosevelt, where he said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So why I love that is when we start to become aware of our surroundings, where we are, what is maybe causing fear, we can then actually start taking the appropriate action to make a change, to get us out of this sense of this fear mode that we're in, the stress space that we're in, and we can then slowly start to navigate our environment. If we look at kind of like the energy that fear puts out, fear, kind of like the flip side or the reverse of the coin for fear is kind of like excitement. It's the same kind of energy. It's kind of like volatile, moving, very like uncertain. And if we can flip this energy that fear has, or this kind of like heaviness that fear has, and we can flip that into a sense of that energy for excitement, we can actually start using it and changing things in ourselves, ideally, and hopefully in our environment as well. So, Nicole, what I kind of like wanted to start with is maybe like looking at the three different areas where fear, can be addressed for us. If it's kind of like our physical in an immediate sense, our mental kind of like body, as well as our emotional body. Because I think that we often perceive fear in just one area, but actually it can be in any of those or in all three of those. So, for example, when there is an immediate or a physical fear, something that we fear, maybe it's a fear of dogs. One of the things that we can slowly start to do is to desensitize ourselves towards that fear. You might have a friend who has a dog, and you slowly start, interacting in a safe way, that you slowly start kind of getting over that kind of fear. The other thing that I like to think of or work with is when there has been physical fear. So if you've nearly stood on a snake, and you're hiking up the mountain or whatnot, you really just want to take some time to step back and bring down that adrenaline. And that's where our yoga breathing comes so handy and, into good use. As well as maybe, going into like a little bit of meditation, just taking a chance for your whole system, that whole sympathetic nervous system, to calm down again. The other practice that I really love is we both have had Lana join us on our workshops and stuff and retreats, is this practice of TRE, which is tremoring, which is shaking, which you often see animals doing in nature themselves. Is, after a stressful event, if they've been chased by a cheetah or whatever the story is, you'll see the buck standing there and shaking, and it's just releasing all that excess energy. So really what we want to do is we want to do practices, and I know you're going to share a lot with this in probably our conversation with you next week, is really how can we down-regulate, slow down this our nervous system, our sympathetic nervous system of kind of like fight and flight. So that is kind of like one area I wanted us to just be made aware of and address. And the second one is kind of like the mental. Often what happens is that we replay negative stories in our head. And what has been proven is that if something happens to you physically and you visualize it or you imagine happening to you, your system has this same response to it by just visualizing as if it had happened to you in actual fact, in real life. So this is where the power of visualization and changing the mindset is really important. So if you constantly fearing or worrying about maybe someone breaking into your house or breaking into your car or coming to attack you, it's as if those actions are actually happening and your body is sending out adrenaline into its system to counteract those. So again, what we want to do is practices like yoga, obviously, and relaxation help. But the biggest one I find is moving into a positive mindset where you're working with a feeling of gratitude. So just a simple gratitude practice. Oh, I'm grateful for the house I live in. Oh, I'm grateful for conversation I have with my friend. Oh, I'm grateful for, you know, the trees outside, whatever it is, just changing the mindset into gratitude and taking yourself out of the replay system. And then the last one, or kind of like what I actually wanted to get onto there as well, is because often a lot of people are in this like work mode, you know, and there's this fear of maybe having to give a presentation or a speech or, you know, something in the office. And we often identify ourselves as a person like, oh, I'm not a public speaker, or I'm really bad at doing this, or I can't give a presentation. And what you want to do is change your identity so that you actually have a more positive identity about yourself. So you might not actually be a great, you know, presentation giver or whatever the story is, but you can always use a sentence stem. I am becoming the kind of person who, and you can fill that in, is great at giving presentations. I'm the kind of person who's great at public speaking. I'm becoming the kind of person who is, you know, great in the office and working with office dynamics or people or collaborating or whatever it is that you're fearing. But by just using, and you maybe writing a little sticky note and putting that on your wall, by using a little sentence stem where you're changing your future identity to a more positive one, starts to reduce that fear that is within us. All right, so, and then emotional, which is again very linked to the mental aspect because those two kind of like go hand in hand. But often kind of what I find is that when it comes to fear, we kind of like go into this victim mode. Oh, why me? Why now? Why this? And then we kind of like start to fear things. And when we go into this victim negative mindset emotion, we really need to find people in a support structure who can be there for us and who can lift us out of that, and where we can slowly start to take action and do something, so that we don't feel like we're a victim, but we're actually being proactive about implementing change. So kind of all of that, what I was saying is like at the beginning, I was saying like this energy of fear. The opposite of that is excitement. So you want to use this energy of excitement. Oh, instead of like being fearful of getting up on stage and having to give a public, you know, talk, see if you can use that same energy and be a bit more excited about it, because now you're becoming the kind of person who's excited to give presentations, and it does change kind of like what's happening within inside you and the amount of hormones and adrenaline within you. And then Nicole, really like the last thing for me is all about, if we're living in rhythm with nature, you know, when we physically get ourselves into rhythm, we're not again going against the flow. You kind of like, we're not fighting the system. The system now doesn't have to be in a sense of fear, like, when is this woman going to bed? It's dark outside. When am I going to get my rest? Or kind of like when it gets light outside, you're like, when is this person actually going to get up and start her day? When am I going to be, getting my meals? Your system doesn't have fear when you are living in sync with nature, and it knows exactly what's happening when. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with everyone about fear and how I like to address it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it really makes sense, because there are obviously, due to the different causes of fear, it's so important to know how to be able to address each of them in each different situation. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us and our listeners.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So that's pretty much it from me. Next week we get to hear from you and all about fear on your side.
Fabulous. Yes, and I shall also be keeping it nice and short and sweet, and I look forward to chatting you guys then. So from now we are signing out and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Namaste.
And have a nourishing day. Thank you for listening to our Nourish and Restore podcast today. To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga. For more information on working with me, Nina Saacks, visit www.yogaaa.co.za. And to work with my awesome friend Nicole, visit www.lov-me.com. Links will be in the show notes. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Namaste and have a nourishing